All
Hello.
right. Hello.
Here we are. I don't know about you, but I had a little bit of a chaotic morning getting ready.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's a war torn island right now, so I had some fixing up to do. You know.
Welcome to another episode of Owlbear Soup, the show in which we build adventures and encounters for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, as well as talking about other weird things that have to do with gaming. Um, I guess I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
Justin,
Yeah. And
and
I'm Rich.
hi, Rich.
Hi. How are you?
I'm
Besides your chaotic morning.
well, it was only a chaotic morning because I tried to one tried to oversteep my tea, so I put the tea in the cup and then I forgot about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then it was cold, so I put it in the microwave and I tried to put it in the microwave for 3 minutes instead of 30
Yeah.
seconds, but
Whoa.
that didn't work out too well either. So you
Very
know,
nice. Very
I'm
nice.
I'm I'm batting 1,000 today. Let me tell you.
Good. Good. Um, I keep waking up early and just sitting down and starting my day with some Ghost of Tsushima, and it is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Am I
So
obsessed? Yes, I am.
yeah,
Yes, I am.
yeah, yeah, you are. So before we get to the topic of the day, let's talk a little bit about news.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 3 minutes. Yikes.
What's that?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, yeah, yeah. I
For
tried to
tea?
nuke it for way too long.
I just
But
imagine an explosion of, like, boiling tea in there, just huge
yeah,
bubbles.
yeah. I did make a little bit of a mess, but I did clean it up.
Oh, good.
So we're all good there. So we both had an experience, but before we get to our experience and even the topic of the day, which is building ship-based adventures, do you have any news for this week?
I have a bit of news. This came out a little bit ago, and, I've wanted to talk about it. I don't know why I haven't, but on the DM's Guild, there is a book that is so smart, it makes me angry. It's, James Introcaso, who wrote My Dad's Monster Manual.
Hmm.
And basically, he took every creature in the monster manual, showed a picture of it to his dad, who is like told a bunch of stories with his toys, I guess, when he was younger, as the inspiration,
Hmm.
and had his dad come up with new names for the monsters and new, like, what are their habitats, what are they like, what do they do, what are their abilities like, and then statted them all up.
Right.
And so now there's an entirely new monster manual with all the same pictures as the original one, which means you get to trick all of your players.
Oh
um,
man.
we've talked reskinning. This is an entire book of reskins, and I think that makes it particularly useful for your players who are just used to knowing exactly what everything is. Oh, that's a ghoul. I know it's going to paralyze me with its long, gross tongue. And James Introcasto's dad was like, "Nope, that's not what's going on.
Nope.
Here's
That's
a new
that's
story."
that's not a ghoul. Oh
Yeah.
man. That's so
So
cool.
it is like a $15 PDF. You can also get it as a print on demand. This was a big Guild Adepts product. It's pretty ridiculous, I've got to say. Um, and I just love the ability to change everything you know about D&D. Um, so I recommend checking that out if you're bored with your monster manual and you just want like a new version of it.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as my news, and I don't know if we talked about it this week, and this will be a little more. It's going to come up a little bit more, and that's Pathfinder 2. Recently,
Mhm.
they released the playtest versions of their Gunslinger and the Inventor.
Right.
Um, and then previously they released a play test for the Magus and the Summoner. So those
Right.
are some new classes for the Pathfinder 2 system that's rolling out, and those seem pretty interesting. So if you play the game, totally go check it out.
And we are all very, very close to checking it out ourselves. I haven't taken a look at them yet because we're dipping our toes into Pathfinder 2.
We are. Yeah. So we had our session 0, I suppose, right
Yeah.
for Pathfinder 2 yesterday. We found a game. It's
Mhm.
me, Rich, our friend Fletcher, and we will be playing online on Roll20 every Saturday evening. And yeah, it the session zero was a little different than I've done session zeros, but I
Yeah,
have to say I really enjoyed it.
I did too. We debriefed a little bit afterwards, but it was really
Hmm.
fun to jump in with our characters, and I think that all of us sort of envisioned this as a character building session, and yet we all built our characters in advance, and so
Right.
we came together, and it was like, any problems, any problems, any okay, cool, and then we were just off and running.
Yeah.
um, because I have a lot of session zeros that people show up as like a blank canvas, and it's just like, what do people even want to do? I haven't touched a character yet, but I'll have one pretty quick.
Hmm.
And I kind of like that we all came in with major themes all ready to go, like
Yeah.
pretty inventive backstories for our characters. Sounded fun.
Yeah, so we're playing. It's going to be a very political game, and
Hmm.
we all somehow came up with characters that would be interacting in this political sphere in interesting ways and coming at it from different directions. And we spent a lot of time in session zero actually building not so much building the party stat wise, but building the party interaction wise, the way they interact
Hmm.
with other players, a little bit of history and background type of stuff. So, for example, what we did was we would if you looked at the list of the names as he was going down it, I had a good experience on a small adventure with the person below me. I had a bad experience on a small adventure with the person above me. Eh, and
With
then some
friction.
with friction. And then someone else, like not semi-randomly in the list, I had a secret with. So we have a secret that we share, and it's just more fodder for the DM. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that aspect of it.
Right? It's wild because I mean, we're playing one of the adventure paths, and they are notorious for being pretty strict, honestly. Like, there's a lot of content in there.
Hmm.
So we started with a discussion, like with this knowledge that we're going to be adding a lot. Like, we have a bunch of character homework to do,
Oh yeah.
a lot of backstory stuff, finding an ally, an enemy, and a rival, a lot of personal stuff to build into it. And he asked at the start whether we were gonna, interested in doing a lot of combats, or if we wanted to skip that so we could just RP all the time, which was pretty fun. And the way that the our session went, absolutely, with these little like improvised scenes. This let's what's our good experience going to be? And that was the whole prompt. It was
Right.
like, we're working for someone and we know who that is, and but we didn't have a lot to go on, so they really kind of generated organically. It was wild to watch. Like,
Yeah.
even the other scenes, I was just like, I was riveted.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a lot going on, and I think I'm really interested to see how this DM is going to pull us all together.
Mhm. Yeah,
And yeah, it's great. I'm pretty excited about it.
me too. He made one interesting promise, and I'm actually very curious about this because um, I play a lot online these days,
Hmm.
and he said specifically that one of the things that gets in the way, I think, of any session is, at a table you can usually say, okay, what do you all do? And the discussion that happens is pretty good. There's social cues that you can build on, but online there are not. And so he said things like, I am going to say, okay, you two, what do you do in this situation? He was going to kind of like focus and make sure that spotlights were put on certain people in certain circumstances. And I
Yeah,
think that is super smart.
that's a really good way to not just run a game online, but to kind of think about running like any kind of political or highly social game. Is
Yeah.
that okay? Well, maybe you want to occasionally break out your party of six into three parties of two. You want to split the party,
Yeah.
which is a big no-no in dungeons. But I think in social situations like this and political situations, I think that's a great way to dive into it. Is just
Absolutely.
preemptively go, hey, I'm going to go ahead and separate some folks.
Hmm. Right? Because otherwise, in a social situation, it is the talky person talks, and that's it. And that's going to be a huge part of this game. And we need even our shyest characters and players as well to like jump
Hmm.
forward and have their moments. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. Just as I am excited to be running for Senate while someone else is a member of the like Absalom Dock Workers Union. Like there's it's this range of political interests, and I think it
Yeah.
sounds really fun.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's going to be interesting, and we will have reports on how the game went, probably after every session. So look
Yeah.
forward to that. Do you have any more news? Did we hit it all? I think we hit it all.
No, that was it. Everything. Yeah.
Everything. All right. Well, let's
Unless you want to tell me about a video game, but we'll leave that.
uh
I talk about it way too much.
oh,
No, I think that is all my news. Yeah,
all right. Well
all the
then,
news that's fit to tell.
all the news it's fit to tell. All right, so here we are. We are writing an adventure that has to do with being on a boat today, specifically looking at kind of shipboard style action. This includes things like like we mentioned in the last episode, things like strange islands and interesting storms and other ships, strange monsters, all these cool things that you can encounter in a ship based adventure, and we're gonna work with you folks in the chat to generate a sailing adventure. So,
Perfect.
like any good adventure, we need uh, a goal. We need
Hmm.
we like using patrons. Patrons are fun. So someone, a quest giver, as it were. Like, and that doesn't have to be a person. That could be anything. That could be a person, a map, uh, omens from the gods, right?
Hmm.
We talked a little bit about that last time too. A little bit of the idea that the sea itself could be a character, and
Right.
and it made me think about that scene in Moana when Moana's grandmother died, and then the giant ray kind of came under her boat and led her and gave her a message. Like you could totally do
Mhm.
something really cool like that. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
and then we need the adventure, right? The
I
adventure.
mean, sure, sure.
But we can come up with some ideas on what we want to do in this adventure. What do
Yeah.
we want to do? All right.
All right. Wow. So interesting. So yeah, let's gosh, I don't know. Let's start with a patron. I think this is an interesting place to focus on this campaign. Like why are we out here? But
Hmm.
whatever the mission is, what is sending us out there?
Yeah.
Um and I know last time we had like a temple sending us out.
Hmm.
Time before that was I think also a temple. not
Okay.
not connected, but it was
So
during
so
an
you're
event, right?
so you're saying we should use another temple.
Another temple. We're really good at temple starts. Um, no, I kind of okay. Let's see. Um, right, D&D is always interesting because if we want to get them to go on an adventure, we need to really push them, right? Our hooks are
Yeah.
pretty heavy usually.
Yeah.
Um, if I just say like, "Ooh, there's a wonderful thing over there,"
No.
it's not necessarily an adventure hook, unfortunately. So I'm gonna leave my like Bard tells a cool story idea for later.
Yeah, and we're looking at these as if they're one shots too. And the idea
Mhm.
behind one shots is you have to just grip the players right away. And there's not a
Right.
whole lot of preamble. Like, the bard telling a really cool story, like that's cool in like a home game when you have some time to kind of,
Yeah.
get to know the players and figure out what
Mhm.
engages them in that way.
Ray, we didn't start our Axbeak cooking story by just being like, you eat some soup, and you're like, I gotta find out who made this soup. Let's go.
Right? No, there was a reason you were called forth.
Mhm.
Um, let's see here. So we are assuming the following: the players have a ship.
They have a ship.
We should detail a ship, a sample ship, as part of the adventure.
Yep, sounds good.
So there we cover the assumptions. And then so I like to think I think I want to go backwards from where you are. I think I want to figure out what the goal is, and then we can figure
Okay.
out what the patron is, because I am struggling just a little bit to put that together. Um,
Yeah.
the goals can always be fun, right? Like it could be a phantom ship that they're tracking, right? That's an easy
Ooh.
one. It's a ship. It's I know we're gonna talk about pirates a little bit more next week, but ooh yeah, Wind Waker. Can the ship be the quest giver? Yes, I think so.
I love that idea. Like at the very start, yeah, maybe this is interesting. Like our ship has some storied past we don't know about, or something like that, right?
Yeah,
And it's we one day we are sailing, and the wheel just starts spinning, right? um, and the captain like backs up looking at it like I can't control it. It's a self-driving car. Here we go. And maybe it takes us to an island where something has happened, and we need to ship's not moving until we figure out what it is.
yeah. Oh, you know what else could be kind of fun is even right, a ghost on a
Or
ship. Do you
ghost
remember
on
the
the ship.
show? It was on PBS. It was called like Ghost Rider or something, where it was like a young kids detective type of show, and then there was like this ghost that just like rearranged letters and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so like the ghost in the ship.
you mean ghost writer, like
Oh
an
yeah,
author?
yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
was like, with Nicolas Cage, the kids
No, no,
movie with
no, Ghost Rider. So the ship can rearrange letters, right? Letters on maps and other documents on the ship.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, so if it yeah, Ghost Rider, like Aubrey just said in the chat, it was a dumb show. I liked it a lot. I was it came on the same time as like Wishbone, which was another show I was too old to be watching, but I still watched because it was fun. So I'm gonna watch it. Um,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah. So okay. So the ship itself is giving clues as to what its need. The ship
Mhm.
itself is giving clues to what it needs, and what
I like
in
this.
and part one of what it needs is found on an island. I don't think the island should be the end all be all of this. I kind of feel like this is a
No, no,
cool
no.
like intro to the adventure. You know,
Yeah,
the players get to the island, and on the island they find something, right? They find something that leads them to whatever we need. And just jumping, like like I was saying too, like jumping to the end, the goal which we may not even find out until the end. Um, the goal of the ship is to get something that belonged to it when it was a person,
oh,
or
okay,
or
okay.
or or to see the last of its relatives in its line.
I
Uh,
like that because I liked this ghost ship idea.
yes. Right. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, no, there's like my great 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 grandson, Philip blah blah blah, is dying and he has no kin. So this is the last, and the ship wants to finally say
Oh, I
goodbye to the last of its family members. Or maybe the ship lost a locket 100 years ago, and it just wants that back on the ship because it makes it remember what it was like to be a human. That one of those types of things where it's a little bit like it's a little bittersweet, right?
Ooh, okay. So this is cool. I like that idea because that's also a moment where we get to be like dual purpose. Like not only is the ship happier, and that just is nice of you to do,
Yeah,
but that could be some kind of upgrade point. Like if this ship is somehow like a magical entity of some kind,
yeah.
maybe that is giving us one of those upgrades that we were talking about before.
Hmm.
So suddenly, even though we don't know that in advance, that quest reward becomes treasure for the party as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we have this mysterious ship. It tells us things with the letters on the maps and things like that, possibly
Hmm.
messing up the maps at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, um, you get used to it. It's a little tricksy maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but this one seems important, and we head off to this island to discover something. Um, okay, our eventual goal to retrieve. I like retrieving an
Yeah.
object.
Yeah. Me
Um,
too.
yeah.
Let's see. Scene one. The
Okay.
ship leads the characters to the island with controlling the wheel, sails, and spelling things out on maps.
Hmm.
But
Ooh.
part of it is that the ship cannot directly tell the PCs what it is trying to say.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So it's a little bit of a puzzle, not super deep, but it's like, so like it can say, it can like draw circles around the island, but it can't say go to, I need you to go to that island
Yep.
and get this, right? But
Hmm.
go to that island, right? And then once you get to the island, then maybe it can give you some hints, but it can't like tell you directly, go 300 feet, inward, and takes, 6 bunny hops left, and then skip for 45 feet north, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can't give you directions like that, but it can give you kind of clues, light clues that lead the players there, so that players feel smart when they figure them out. And and the ship can kind of like, you could have interactions where it's like when you get a clue right, maybe the sails floral a little bit and flutter. It's like it's celebrating.
That's perfect. I like it a lot. Um, this is good too. I like the idea that it can also give you some like cryptic clues, maybe. So once you're out, like on the town, what if this is? I'm trying to think of what kind of creatures could be in here. And I know since at sea, we could do a lot of like undersea things, but
Mhm.
at sea is also a good, reasonable place for flying creatures.
Yeah,
Um, so using something like an Isle of Harpies or something could be an interesting threat.
yeah,
So maybe they're coming on the scene of a harpy attack or something, and someone, there is a survivor, and these clues kind of lead you to them as they are like hiding or wounded or unconscious or something like that.
mhm.
And you're like, how did the ship know?
Yeah, or maybe the harpies inside their lair are guarding a chest that has a
Mhm.
map or something. Um, but I like your idea. I like saving people. Why would let's see? Why would the ship know about this person, and what does this person have for us? What's
So let's see. So you arrive maybe, and all you see are just arrows everywhere, right? You have no idea what that could have been. Right. I'm looking at the Theros book for things. The harpies in here are not archers. Actually, they are
oh
clawed creatures. But I like I like archer harpies. It just makes sense. Um, maybe
what
you
if
don't know exactly what the attack was. You think, is it a pirate ship? Did it get land? Like, what's going on here? And the survivor's able to tell us the story.
all right? You arrive at the island and you see a scene of an attack.
Hmm.
The beach is littered with arrows, daggers, spears, and other objects,
Hmm.
and nothing else. No bodies, nothing else.
Right. You go in, you investigate the. There aren't many houses here, maybe, but you see signs of like relatively recent food. It's
Yeah,
not. Place is not abandoned.
yeah. It's not completely abandoned, and maybe as you go deeper, you run. That's when you run into. You go deeper. You run into. You run into the harpies, right? The harpies attack.
Oh, okay, okay.
and maybe it's too many harpies. So you need some help. And what comes to help you? Something that does fly and does use bows and arrows. It's a bunch of Aarakocra.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I like this. Now we're getting into the middle of like a territorial conflict. Yes.
Right? So the I didn't spell Aarakocra right. I'll figure it out later. The
No one can.
Aarakocra. Yeah, I know it's such a dumb word. The Aarakocra help fight off the harpies, and then they take you. Back to their village. That is where you see a map that the Aarakocra Aarakocra's leader has possession of.
Okay.
Okay, so there you
Right. They've
thank
spent a
you.
long time. They've been around here a long time. They've got all sorts of things on these maps, maybe that our maps don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe even they know the leader knows something about your ship, right?
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, like the leader says, I saw you are sailing the whatever, whatever, the whatever ship,
The whatever
uh,
ship.
the whatever ship. This,
Ship name generator.
yeah, right. This belongs to her, and they hand you the map. Or better yet, they just hand you that map, right? But
I
then they
like
ask a
that.
favor.
Okay, so they're going to give you this map with all sorts of knowledge, and maybe the map is, like a Marauder's map. It's a thing that's going to change once it's back on the boat. Maybe gain
Yeah,
details. Who
right.
knows? That's great, but they
Yeah,
do want a favor.
yeah. They ask for a favor.
Fair
They're
enough.
not going to enforce it. They've already given you the map. It's in
Hmm.
its case, it's fine. You could leave if you want, but they have a favor.
Yeah.
Uh, the harpies have gotten extra aggressive.
Right. Right.
And have a ship full of captives that they want our help rescuing.
Sounds good. So we need to get to another island to deal with the harpies. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like that already because now I need to think about what kind of an island are these harpies going to be hanging out on. It can't be the same one.
Right.
So these very nice Aarakocra. This should be a pretty terrible place.
Hmm. The island is close, right? The island is close, so it's not a major
Mhm.
sailing because the
Right.
Aarakocra and Harpy can fly between them. But you do have to get over there. So you're going to have a couple options. You can try to sail your ship.
Hmm.
Yeah, these Harpies need a snack. They're pretty hangry. They could take a smaller boat. They could take a dinghy. They could try to swim. They could fly,
Right.
right?
Right.
If they have fly spell, maybe, or through the Aarakocra. So, however they decide to get over there, the Harpy Island, they get to the Harpy Island. Or, yeah, I think they'll just because this should just be a short portion of the whole adventure. I think this is
Okay.
like the first third, so we kind of can make it quick because we want to do probably 3 encounters. So we want to do this next one, 3, 4ish encounters. So we want to do this next one. We probably want to do one on a ship, and then we probably want to do one at the end, right?
Right. Fair enough. Hmm.
So yeah, so I don't think this should be too deep, but this could be a fun like adventure all on its own.
Right. And I'm trying to think about let's see, what could we do to make this island a little bit interesting? Like, why have they made their home here? I love the idea that it's just, just a rocky island. You could make some ridiculous climbing checks to get up to their nests near the top of it. Um, um, they've
Uh,
once they're up there, the captives are all, yeah, they're absolutely making food. um, Yeah, yeah. Let's make it tricky for them to get up there, maybe. I mean, they have to come up with like a plan of attack for this one.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Unless they're flying, they could just fly to the top.
right, right, exactly, yeah. Harpies are getting ready to eat them.
But I'm not imagining like the cliffs. What are those called? The cliffs of impossibility? That's not what they're called
Oh,
in the Princess Bride, but
I should know that.
the cliffs of unusual size.
Okay,
um,
so they have to get up to the top of a peak to foil the harpies' dinner.
Sounds good.
So there'll be skill checks to climb, stealth, and then a combat.
Right, right. I do like the idea that they could bring some sort of offering, some sort of trade maybe. But I like that this knowledge that this is an aggressive group maybe somehow,
Yeah,
and you're not convinced they're going to back down. Uh, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and I think I think the heroes get some backup from the Aarakocra again.
Right? Maybe they are going to take care of some of the archers in the distance, leaving you to
Mhm.
battle a few of the harpies, like with a with their claws in the middle of the fight or middle
Yeah.
of the island somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Aubrey brought up a good idea. The harpies or the players have to get up to the top of a peak, but instead to the top of a waterfall.
Oh, running all
Uh,
the way down that island. That sounds great.
yeah. Yeah. And then the Aarakocra fight off the long ranged.
Cliffs of Insanity. That's right.
That's right. The long range and other flying creatures.
Hmm.
Boom. Then the players are off again.
Right. Right.
So we should have a ocean fight scene and a final fight scene.
Okay.
Um,
So
yeah.
yeah. So this is
So
just their favor, right? They've been asked to go do this.
yep.
They do it. The Aarakocra high five them. Nice work. Um, and head back home, wishing them well. But now they head back to their ship with this map, and something is revealed, right, leading them
Yeah.
to the next destination. Now they're on the
Mhm.
quest to actually find the object um, that they're looking for. Um, and maybe they find out, I just love the idea that potentially this map has a few different objects on it. Maybe some are in the distance, or there's a list or something like that. But
Yeah.
they know that one is close by somehow.
Oh yeah. This could be just the start of a whole campaign.
Hmm.
So they have the map on the ship, and the map changes and adjusts, showing a handful of different like no, I don't want to say X's, but
Right.
different items for the players to hunt down.
Hmm.
One of which is only a few days sail away.
Right. That's plenty of time for a big Nova style shipboard encounter.
Yeah. All right. So, what are they going to fight on the ship while they're on their ship? Um, I love the ideas of maybe the harpies trying to get their revenge and follow, you know, and attacking the ship while it's at sea.
Hmm.
We could also do other monsters. I like big monsters with a bunch of, you know, this is a perfect place for a Kraken fight, right? You know, you have the head of the
I mean, yeah,
monster, but then you also have the tentacles coming up, and the tentacles, you can fight those off and the monster, and that could be fun. Um, Dragons,
yes,
of course, in the water could be fun. Um, Marrow, but Marrow more shallow water, I think.
right, right. Um, I am just, because I'm a monster, taking a look at the Theros book because I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Um, oof, that is an underworld creature, but it's one I would like a lot. I do like the idea of a big Kraken fight, like
let's
having
do a Kraken.
we could do this shipboard thing that is there are multiple pieces to it, maybe,
Mhm.
right? We've talked about this before, like having the ship have a weapon, right? The ship needs to get out of here. That's the goal of this combat. Is the ship needs to leave. Um, and maybe it is like there is some huge tentacles, and if I can smack a few of them, two of them have grabbed the ship. I need to get rid of those two. Um, but a third one is doing a ton of damage to us or something like that.
Hmm.
We could make
Yeah,
this kind of a ritual style, free the ship, and then the ship can start getting out of here while
yeah,
defending, from these other ones attacking.
yeah. So yeah. So the ship has a weapon that deals with the main body portion of the Kraken, and the player's goal is to survive. So the tentacles, actually they're arms, aren't they? Or no, they are tentacles on that one. The tents. There we go. Uh, uh, they they come up on the side of the ship and do damage and attack the players. The players have to fight them off each round, or the ship gets damaged.
Right.
The captain of the ship goes on init roll of 15, and
Hmm.
they just shoot the Kraken, doing, I don't know, X amount of damage to the body. And well, let's come up with a number for that. So I don't know, and I don't think it matters how much the hit points the a Kraken in the book has, because this is
Right.
going to be run a little bit differently. So the
Right.
cannon does 100 damage to the body, right? The body,
Okay.
let's go a little bit lower than that. Does 20 damage to the body, and the body has 200 hit points. So that seems like a
Okay.
long combat, right? That's 10 rounds. But the idea is that if the players can get rid of all the tentacles,
Hmm.
that equals another 20 damage. And then if the players have any turns left or any actions left,
Excuse me. Hmm.
they can use those to attack the body.
Absolutely. Right. So I like that plan. Right. We've got these tentacles that are holding on have specific ACs. They have specific amount of hit points as well. So that's a sponge. We could almost treat this like a Hydra fight, honestly. Right.
Yeah.
Um, beat the tentacles, and that does some damage to the body. Anyway, it's kind of separate, but kind of not.
Right.
I love the idea of these tentacles using the Kraken's like fling ability. So not only are they
Yeah.
smacking things, but they're also knocking them prone, throwing them about the ship. People might get worried, like, oh no, I need to stay close to the center so I don't get knocked off of the ship. That could be a possibility. Um, Krakens are also, I mean, I don't want to get too wild here, but have like lightning abilities.
Oh, nice.
Right. Krakens, any type of the Krakens that I'm seeing in the monster manuals have some sort of summon lightning bolts or a lightning storm or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, the malformed Kraken out of the Dead and Thay book is kind of the lowest CR one. It's a CR10, and it creates 3 bolts of lightning, each of which can strike a target within 150 feet, DC 16 or 3d10 lightning damage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So once a turn,
So somewhere in
the
there.
Kraken gets to attack with its lightning.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So and I think as far as the actual tentacles, it should be 1 per player to start, and then I would say the amount of players -2 pop up every turn,
Oh wow. Okay.
right? So it keeps them very, active in trying to, get get things to do what they need to do, but at the same time, it's just going to keep coming, right?
Right.
So wow, you
Yeah.
are
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy
Absolutely.
colored. Sorry. I was your
Oh
your
no.
your your camera's doing amazing things right now.
I looked at it. I see it. Camera, why? Why?
Ooh. Anyway,
It's rezone. We'll
let's
see if
see
that
here.
does anything.
Eh, it does it. That's fine. I'll get it fixed in a second. But yeah, so I think that's a really fun idea.
Yeah.
Um, but
Oh, I did the little screen wipe and now I'm just gone. I'm just gone.
there we go. There we go. So
Fun.
anyway,
Fun.
so yeah. The idea I have is that it's just going to be constant action because they're trying to survive. I think the tentacles need to keep coming back, but each tentacle
Yeah.
like doesn't have a ton of hit points, right?
Mhm.
Each tentacle has like 15 hit points, right?
Okay. Right. Because you do want someone to have that, like, I got a great sword. I cleave it in one hit. Like, that needs to be on the table.
Yeah, yeah. And when we didn't define levels for this adventure, but
Mhm.
I'm imagining like 5 to 7 this
Yeah.
area. And so you're gonna have a couple of players. They're gonna have 2 attacks around. So if they can position right, they could probably get 2 tentacles. You can have
Yeah.
wizards killing multiples at a time. So it's gonna give them the opportunity to get ahead of this. Potentially, right? So,
Mhm.
maybe they're not the easiest to hit too. Maybe they have a pretty good AC. Maybe they're like at a 17 AC just because of how
Right.
slippery and quick they are. But one hit
True.
typically just knocks them down. Um, yeah. Anyway, that's my
I
thoughts.
like that. It's feeling like minions, which is really what we want here, right? So,
Yeah.
so potentially they could do something where people are taking out these tentacles specifically. Maybe we have, a wizard like dropping huge fireballs on the body of this thing, trying to get it to flee.
Yeah.
Um, is the thing going to flee in the end, or is it going to be defeated? What do you
I
think?
think it.
What's
I
the
think. It, I think it flees.
okay?
Don't you? Do you?
I mean, it's tough because krakens are such a weird creature. I mean, they're
Hmm.
in a sense in our minds they're not meant to be destroyed. If that makes sense.
Right.
Right? They're too big. Um,
Yeah.
but of course they give them hit points, and so this CR10 one has like 172 hit points, which is not beyond
No.
level 5 to 7 party at all.
Right.
We would give them more because of this like tentacle thing probably that we're doing, but
Yeah.
seems a little different.
Yeah, and I'm not even like I'm thinking we don't even stat block the Kraken in there, right? We
Mhm.
don't reference it. We just say this is how the Kraken acts in combat. It
Yeah,
acts on these initiatives. After it loses this many hit points, we don't say how many hit points it has. After it loses this many hit points, it flees.
yeah, it gets out.
Yeah,
Decides you are not worth the
ex-
struggle. Um,
exactly.
Great, and maybe that's great because now the party knows that this little like archipelago or wherever we are, these islands here, there is an angry kraken that is very strong.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, and now they get to go say they survived. Maybe they end up at a village later, where they're like, "Oh, you've met the Kraken and lived? Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, and then maybe the Kraken becomes something that they have to hunt down later, right? You can
Mhm.
always bring it
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
It's a mythical creature that you don't see very often, especially like in D&D players. Like, we typically run into dragons, and so running into something like crazy, like a Kraken that's just trying to tear your boat apart
mhm.
would I think it would be a ton of fun. Like even if it
I
gets
agree.
away, and we want to put pressure onto players so that they're like, when it gets away, they actually breathe, right? We want it that hard,
Right.
but not so hard that it kills them easily. But
Yeah, yeah.
and remember,
Right. And that
they're
sounds
gonna have
good.
a long rest before this
Yeah.
and after this too. So we can really we can really put the challenge to the players in on all three of these fights.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right. I enjoy knowing that this is a terrifying emergency. Like the bad news here is a TPK.
Yep.
100%. And
Mhm.
every player should recognize that. So
Yeah.
use those abilities. You're not escaping this one.
Hmm. Right.
Um, so I mean, maybe having those bits in there. I mean, that's getting into more of the details, but like the captain's going to shout out, like, we have to kill it. We have to get it to flee, or we're
Hmm.
all dead.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Players might say that too, but let's just put it there. I don't want, this isn't the kind of battle that we are designing with players being like, I'm going to hold on to my fireball for, what if there's another fight?
Right. This is going to be one of those sessions when the players sit down, and the DM's going to be like, "All right, you're going to get to use all of your abilities."
Uh, you know how D&D kind of works normally? Today, gonna try to kill you all.
Yeah, yeah. Your adventuring day is going to be one encounter each day,
Mhm.
so be prepared.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's, I mean, honestly fair. It gets difficult, to balance, but I like those adventures. I like
Yeah,
having, a fight with meaning. So
hmm,
this one's working out that way.
it is.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that brings us to well, we don't even have to get to the epic conclusion yet. What we can get to is we could do like a oh, I didn't start doing this. A skill challenge type of thing, right?
Hmm.
So, we talked about this a little bit in the last one. Things like navigating. I hear things like navigating a reef,
Hmm.
navigating a storm.
Yeah. And this is good because I assume that at this point we are finding this artifact, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's a great skill challenge. Like just doing, some recovery, right? The sunken ship is here or something. We don't have to make that a combat. We can make that a like you just go down, you get it, make that a story moment, and then end with the
Exactly.
like I don't know, the pirates who are looking for that treasure as well. They saw you doing recovery, waited for you to do it, and now they're coming in. Or I don't know. Could
Yeah,
be a lot of
yeah. It could be a lot of things. So you think that they recover the item and then they get attacked by pirates or something along
things.
those lines.
I kind of like that. Our
Yeah.
storyline, I think, our overall plot is these are kind of like small elements of the recovery of this. That's the main plot line.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that whatever they get from it, they're going to be able to use. So they get, if we are upgrading their ship, they're going to get that upgrade. And
Hmm.
then, they have a final moment.
Okay. So they find a reef. We'll just do a reef, right? They find a reef
Sure.
with a opening in the middle,
Hmm.
and in the
Right.
middle, they see a small item that's twinkling in the center of it. Right?
Hmm.
They would have never found this any other way, but they found it. And they get there, and because it's a reef, their ship, they have to be very careful. Reefs are shallow water.
Hmm.
They get to that point. They dive in. They grab the item. They bring the item up. Right? Seems all
Yeah.
good.
Right.
Uh,
And we get this moment, right? Where if the ship wants this item, we get a flavorful bit of like how do you know that? How do you know that a necklace you need to give to your ship instead of like identifying and putting on? Like,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Um it's not like the bow of a ship that you're attaching, if it is something that this spirit wants.
Yeah.
Um
The ship warms and starts to glow a little
right? Like
as
does
you
yeah.
you bring up this amulet.
I like the idea that the sails are all flapping, right? So clearly
Hmm.
the ship wants to talk somehow. I don't know if a spirit of the ship actually can appear in this moment, or if it is like run to the captain's room, like look through the books, and
Yes.
like letters are flying everywhere.
You bring up this amulet, but but just like Hudson brought up, but it strangely seems to fit a gap that you've noticed in the masthead.
I like that.
And then you start to notice the other gaps elsewhere in the ship. All right. And so since it's in the
Very cool.
masthead, what kind of properties does this give us, right? Because I think each each one of these places are going to definitely like enhance the ship some way. So if we
Mhm.
put it in the masthead, what kind of adaptation is it going to give that's going to allow the players to succeed in this final battle? What is it that's going to give them
Oh,
the edge?
hmm. Right. Is this the moment where are they going to give us the top ropes that we need to swing across to other ships really easily, or I'm just trying to get masthead right. It's the crow's nest top of the where the sail connects, right, to the mast.
Wow. I want to say it's the or no, it's the front of it, right? Oh no, that's the
Oh,
figurehead. No, that's the figurehead.
okay.
What is the? Now I need to look that up. That's totally weird.
I know what it
Oh,
is on a
it's the top.
newspaper.
Yeah, it's the top mast. It's the top mast of the sailing ship. So it's a tall vertical pole which supports the sails. Yeah, there we go. Masthead.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, cool.
You're right.
Um,
Oh man, why was I blanking? I was thinking figurehead. Whenever we kept saying masthead, I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking figurehead. I was like, okay, well, it goes on to figurehead. So maybe ramming. I don't know. Maybe it shoots a laser beam, but no,
Which
masthead. So
it could be there.
yeah, no, I like masthead. So what it does is, yeah, it gives you it moves the rigging around
Mhm.
to allow for easy boarding of other ships
Yeah,
and
and maybe it fixes our sails too, so we go a little bit faster.
yeah, and it deflects and it helps deflect getting boarded. And adds a small bit to speed. There we go. Bam. Right.
Okay,
And I
that's
think it's
pretty good.
kind of fun that the rigging it makes it hard for them to get boarded, and I think that's what we're going to kind of use to show some of the. Oh my God! Somebody just ran by with their little puppy on a leash, and it was cute. Um, yeah, yeah. I got distracted. Yeah, exactly. The masthead over the figurehead as it's more central. Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah,
Mhm,
and then yeah, I think
mhm.
as they look at that, they're like, oh, okay, well, there's like two other spots on this masthead I can put things too. Oh, and there's one on the figurehead, and there's one on the wheel. There's maybe they just find like a dozen of them,
Right,
and it's just
right.
different ways to upgrade their ship because this is part of a ship campaign now. Um, but yeah, so I was thinking about the deflecting. So another ship. Uh, yeah, puppy alert. It was so adorable too. It was just like flopping around and being goofy. Um, so another ship approaches, and they raise the Jolly Roger,
Oh, okay.
meaning no quarter. And they attacked a ship.
Right. Let's see. Is there yeah, maybe they stop. They're nearby. They're able to send a message spell or something across, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Give us whatever treasure you found. We've been hunting it for years," or some kind of threat, so that they
Yeah,
know what they're about. Because as soon as the Jolly Roger goes up, this is a combat to the death.
yeah, yeah. So the ships shoot at each other. Blah 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 blah. Like we can do that. The ships shooting at each other a little bit. We can detail. Maybe when we do encounters, we could talk about that a little bit because that's two different
Mhm.
encounters. So, but they could be one, right? So to
Right.
shooting at each other, and the ship pulls up for boarding.
Right. And maybe, let's see, this upgrade could be something like, whenever your first attack, when you board a ship from your new rigging, you get advantage on it or something like that. Like we could
Mhm.
make that first moment really impressive, and then it's just a combat on a ship after that. But I like this some kind of way to get a big advantage right from the start. Advantage, maybe, it also they get disadvantage their first turn when they board or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Right. So when you use the rigging to swing across, you get advantage whenever you land an attack, your first attack.
Mhm.
And that's back and forth, right? Anytime you use the rigging you use a move action to swing on the rigging, and that's what it'll
Mhm.
be. It'll be a move action, right? It
Yeah.
changes it from an action to a move action, right? So you use move action to swing. When you land, you get advantage on your next attack. The opposite for the enemies. When they swing onto your ship, the rigging lashes at them and distracts them, so they get disadvantage on their first attack.
Right. And we don't want that to be, the entire combat, but those first moments, I think that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and make it kind of fun to swing back and forth between the ships too, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, if you have one like one player who all they want to do is like line up, you know, maybe you swing when you swing, you get to move your movement speed in a straight line, right? Sure,
Yeah.
we'll figure out rules for that. But yeah, you swing, and
Right.
then their entire like turn is all built around the idea of trying to draw straight lines to enemies on either ship and just swing back and forth. And it's like, awesome. I say do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Absolutely. You got the mobile feet, like, go for it.
Do
Just
it,
head right
right?
back.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think we have a decent outline for the adventure. Let's
Mhm.
definitely pop back in next week, talk a little bit about the ships battling each other. And then also we can then start working on the encounters we want to talk about for these adventures. Um, we'll be back here on Twitch at 11 a.m. next week, as well as on YouTube. We are live streaming over on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And then we are posting all of these videos to our YouTube. Follow us on Instagram to find out when we're posting those. Follow us on Discord to find out upcoming subjects. And yeah. So, Rich, anything else before we part ways?
Oh, I do have one thing, which is
Ooh.
tomorrow night. I'm gonna be on, our dear friend, Rebecca Hicks' show.
Ooh.
Um talking about some codes and ciphers. Tomorrow, I believe, is Learn to Write Your Name in Morse Code Day or something around there. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're going to be talking about Morse code and a whole bunch of other codes and
Oh, nice.
ciphers. And I'm very
Nice.
excited about
Awesome.
it.
And a
So that'll
special.
be at 6, I think, right after my classes
Oh,
on
awesome.
on Rebecca's channel.
Sweet. And that's Rebecca Hicks Prime here on Twitch. Um,
Thank you.
yep. And then Hudson just wanted to say, Rich, you look very comfortable in your hoodie.
Oh, it's so comfy. This is the comfiest hoodie. I've never taken it off. I've had it for a week. It's on all the time. Uh, it's the best.
uh, All right, everybody. Thanks so much, and we will see you all next week.